All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Zoning Board of Appeals, Town of Groveland, on Wednesday, June 21st, 2023. Can I have a motion to open?
So motion.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, let's kick things off here. First on the docket, application 2023-6, 912 Salem Street, applicant Mark A. Abair. This is a continuation.
Yes, that is correct. The first page in your meeting packet, they're requesting a continuation so that they have more time to prepare their notice of intent and site plan approval with the Conservation Commission and Planning Board respectively. For this continuation, they're looking to be continued until our August 2nd meeting. Because of that date, it will push them outside of the 90-day timeframe that we have to make a decision by.
Recording
so they
in progress.
Asked to formally extend the timeframe that we have as well. So the applicant signed it, so Mr. Chair, just when we can do it at the end of the meeting, just sign off on this and I'll file it with the town clerk. But other than that, yeah, they would like to continue until the August 2nd meeting.
Okay.
I'm going to file a motion.
Yeah, anyone have any issues with the continuing to August 2nd? All right,
Motion to continue to the August 2nd meeting.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Continued to the August 2nd meeting. 2, all right. Next up, 154 Center Street, request of minor modification of decision.
So this began with an email to the Board of Selectmen, I believe. Correct, okay. An email to the Board of Selectmen from an abutter to the property who had been at the public meetings, Mr. LeBlanc, I believe. He had noticed at the contractor yard across the street that there had been mattresses being stored for longer than 24 hours. Our decision, which is in your meeting packet as well, notes, I'm not sure which condition number it is, sorry. Condition number 9, that there shall be no storage of full dumpsters for longer than 1 business night, along with some other stipulations as well. You can see the very last page of your meeting, or sorry, not the very last page, the second to last page of your meeting packet. Jesse Jalbert, the applicant at the time and the owner of 154 Center Street, is asking to modify that. In addition, there were some other modifications he was requesting. Because of that, I asked Sam Joslin, our zoning enforcement officer and building commissioner, to take a look out there, because as the zoning enforcement officer, he is the one who enforces the conditions. And so he kind of put in and this is the very last page of your meeting packet, kind of put together a condition status report on kind of what was going on at the site. So that's the very last page of your meeting packet. I also did include the site plan, just because I know when I was reading the information on the fences, I was getting confused just visualizing it. So I did include the site plan in your meeting packet as well. But Jesse is here, so I'll let him take it away, unless, Mr. Chair, you want to start off with something else.
No, I think at this point, we can hear from the applicant.
Okay.
Please. Actually, do we have a microphone that you can have?
Yes. It should be right there. Just press the button and we'll be right off. If you need to use the microphone.
Thank you.
The dumpster situation that the neighbor had reported, we haven't been keeping any full dumpsters of any trash or anything like that there. It's just the junk removal trucks at the end of the day when they come back with a mattress from a customer's house. They put it in one of the dumpsters, and then we empty that every 2 to 3 days. We get a decent amount of mattresses, probably 50 or so a week, 50 or 60 a week. Especially it's a waistband item in Mass now, so you can't get rid of them at the local dumpster or anything anymore. So we take them to Brockton. So that's what was in that one dumpster. This has never been a full dumpster there since we've got everything approved and had the meetings. I know everybody stressed that there's, concerns about dumpsters at customers' houses that they fill up, and we don't know what's in them, so that's a big reason nobody wanted the dumpsters there. So we haven't been doing that at all. So that's the mattress situation. So what I wanted to see if would be allowed is to keep a dumpster full of mattresses and empty it every few days as it gets full.
Can you put them in the building?
Could do that.
Just to keep, we did condition it, and there was some opposition.
Yeah.
from their neighbors across the street. We did give you,
Yeah.
we did give you the permit. We granted the permit.
Yep.
I mean, to come back necessarily, I get it. I know you have to strip the mattresses, or the mattresses have to be pulled apart now,
Yeah.
and the wire goes one place, and
To be
the wire
hon-
goes to another.
Yeah, and just so you guys don't think I was doing anything like that I wasn't supposed to do, when we originally talked about the junk removal trucks, that those get hand-loaded, so we know everything that goes in those trucks. I just assumed that a mattress that a dumpster that we hand-loaded with the mattresses kind of fell in that category. So, but if it doesn't, it doesn't.
The board wants to have a discussion on it.
Actually, I have a couple of other questions while we're on this topic. So, as part of this, as Andy mentioned, our zoning enforcement officer went by and made some notes, and specifically, there were 4 conditions from the original approval that have not been met. Would you like to speak to those ones that have not been met?
Yeah, if you want to go through them.
Do you want a copy of it?
Yeah, I don't have a copy of it. I know it was the fence.
Yeah, because for myself, I'd like to, make sure we're addressing the original conditions before we look at any modifications to the decision. So it looks like specifically it's conditions 2, 4, 5, and 6 that are being noted as not complied at this point.
All the dumpsters are on the dirt area. There's one in front of a loading dock on asphalt. Oh, I'm sorry. The impervious would be the asphalt.
Right.
No, that wasn't a condition. Because the plan was to put them all in the back on the
After the
dirt
septic
area.
was removed, and then that would have been the impervious surface, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, right. When the septic's gone, I was gonna do the concrete pad in the back corner, store 5 or so dumpsters on the ground, if we had dumpsters from customers, but that's not been done because the septic and everything's still
Yeah,
there.
when's the septic gonna be live, Andy, do we know?
You'll have to check with water and sewer, but I'm pretty sure everything's been up and running on the sewer
You
extension.
think it's all connected?
I believe so. I believe a house on Murray Ave already connected.
Yeah, because I thought that was all done and repaved and all.
Yeah, they're gonna repave
Well,
more
yes,
fully,
yeah,
but
temporarily
I would check with Colin at Water and Sewer.
yeah, the water and sewer department, he's very responsive.
Okay.
I'm sure if you call him tomorrow, he'll be able to
Just
answer.
last time I talked to Bill a couple months ago, I know he said there was like a big section that was gonna take a while to
Oh, no,
connect.
everything is in,
Okay.
and I believe it was all tested and everything, so it should be all set to
Okay.
go. Yeah.
So it sounds like there's confusion on number 2, that if there is full dumpsters, when I do that concrete pad, that's where they would be on that.
Yep. But not the empty ones,
Empties can be on the dirt.
anywhere, yeah.
Right, it's only the ones that need to be on the impervious surface.
Yeah.
The fencing,
The fencing, I've had some time for that, like luckily to think about it, but it took a while for them to actually connect the back fence and stop. I was letting them drive through the yard to go back for a while for their equipment and machines or whatever it was. But the fencing got reconnected in the back section about in April sometime. So it's time to figure out the fence, and that's one of the reasons that prompted me for this. Is I
Okay.
want to bring the fence to the front of the property, not so I can store more dumpsters, just because it'll be easier logistically to keep the dumpsters. If I put a fence up at the back of the building, it's going to be hard to back dumpsters and trucks into that spot. So what I was thinking is just move the fence all the way to the front of the property where the gate is now, and eliminate the rear fence. It would block. You would.
yeah, I don't think there's no view from the back.
When you say eliminate the rear fence, do you just mean kind of move it up?
Yeah.
Okay,
Bring it
'cause-
bring it all the way to the front of the property
So
where
for
we have
the-
a gate now.
So for the one along the back though, that buffers the town property.
Yep.
That chain link, you would keep that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
I just wanted
yeah,
to
yeah.
make sure, or I just wanted to fully understand
Yeah,
what you meant
no,
by
thanks for
that.
clarifying that. Yeah, the
Yeah.
back one would stay there.
Okay.
Yeah, it goes around the back and then it
Yeah.
comes
yeah,
up
yeah,
the
yeah.
property a little bit.
Okay, I just, so basically, the one that was supposed to be there, you would like to move it up?
Yeah, which it's supposed to be there for screening, and so I just move it up and still screen.
All right, and when are you proposing to do that adjustment to the fencing?
If it gets approved, I would, do it sometime over June, July.
And then petition 5, prepare the fence being stored outside the fenced area, so that's related.
So, yeah, technically, if that back fence was there, if I had installed it, the dumpsters are behind it. They're past the rear of the building. So that's not, I think the way some of the stuff is worded a little bit, maybe it was not as clear for Sam. I know he wasn't involved in the meetings. So, but there's no dumpsters, besides one at a loading dock, there's no dumpsters that would be in front of that fence.
Yeah, well, again, I think part of the problem is that it's not using the fences in there, right?
Gotta remember,
Yeah, but
Daley was doing his
But-
tie-in,
Yeah, but
and that was done
that's been
in,
done for a couple months.
yeah.
yeah, so April I could have.
I think that was done in March, I believe. Someone please correct me.
I think
Yeah, it
April
was.
was done, right?
Yeah, March sometime, and then
He was still using the easement to access 150 Center Street, or Strawberry Fields, I should say, because there was some restoration work they had to do for the stream crossing, and they had also been storing fill back there. So they were still trucking stuff in and out of there, I would say, until, end of April.
beginning.
Yeah.
Beginning of
Yeah,
April.
it was beginning of April.
So I look back at text with Bill saying, can we please close the fence?
Yeah.
So it was the beginning of April. So yeah, I could have, during the month of April, I could have installed the fence and had it done, but, I wanted to figure, once I really got a chance to start thinking about it, that's what I wanted to move it up.
Okay. And then the other one is condition 6, vegetative buffer between the site and the street.
With the fence. I think I put in that note, if the fence gets approved to move it up front, I would want to do more arborvitae's with your approval up there, up at the street.
All right, yeah, I mean, I think that would be approved because we asked for it in the original approval.
Yeah, there was no definitive time to do that.
No,
ju-
right.
But, yeah, it was asked to do.
I think I'd suggest the deer-resistant arborvitae's.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. Yep. And not,
Because they'll
Put 'em
be chewed.
yep. Yep. The hours of operation, I would think that there's been no complaints. I mean, honestly, we've been the only complaint I would think you've heard is that mattress dumpster.
It's true.
Yeah.
Because we've been everything's been going well.
That's the only one I've received.
But it wasn't just the mattress dumpster, because you had several trucks that have it full. And if I remember the conversation correctly, it was when the dumpsters get picked up, they'll go to the transfer station, get dropped. And only if it gets picked up too late, it won't, but it will be the following day. And that's why we allowed it for one day.
Which we're not even doing the one day, because I was just going to wait until we got the impervious surface in the back where the septic was. So no dumpster goes there at all, full, except the mattress dumpster that we hand
And
loaded.
your trucks.
Well, the trucks, yeah, those are hand loaded. We hand load those.
Yeah, but I
so-
don't think it mattered whether it was hand loaded or not. It was
Right.
a matter of, there was no dumpsters to be kept there. When the trucks get brought back, they're supposed to go to the transfer station, dump their load. If they don't get dumped, they're supposed to get dropped the next day, and that's why we did one day.
Right.
Empty
Right,
dumpsters
because-
could be stored.
It didn't matter who loaded it.
Because the trucks may get there after the place is closed. so
And
they
if I
have to-
remember correctly, it was all supposed to be loaded by your people, regardless of what it
Are we
was.
talking junk removal trucks or dumpster trucks?
Both.
Because the junk removal trucks, the way we left it is because we hand loaded those and knew what went in them, they would come back, and they do get emptied the next day. But those do come back if the dumps close and get emptied the next day. But no dumpsters are coming back. No dumpsters are coming back full.
All right, and the trucks, it's only if, you can't make it to the unloading zone by closing time.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
And then when you
I believe
spoke to
it.
Sam, did you say that the fence was already on order?
No. No. Actually, I haven't talked to Sam. It was someone in the office talked to him, a gentleman named Josh. I don't think Josh would have said that.
And then the dumpster, what's in the dumpster currently now and that's in front of the loading door?
There was a little bit of metal in there. But it's actually not there now.
Because that was the big thing. We had mentioned that the neighbors were going to be keeping an eye on it.
Yeah.
Apparently, they have a drone. Because those are the pictures that they sent to the Board of Selectmen.
Oh, you got a picture? Okay. Well, I figured he can see the mattress dumpster right from his house.
Let me see that picture.
My only concern, would be that by moving the fence, we think that the sight lines won't change. Like right now, with the fence way back there, it really will hide the dumpsters when they're behind the fence. But when you move it closer to the road, I wonder if you can now see kind of over the fence if you're across the road. You
Well,
know?
with the way that it looks with a drone, you can see,
Everything.
and how,
'Cause, I mean, that was the point of the fence, was to hide
Yeah.
the dumpsters.
You definitely.
And if you're moving it way up to the front, it's no longer doing that. It's just a fence now.
Right, depends on the height of the fence, but I hear what
the
you're saying.
people on the other side of the street are above the
He's high,
fence.
he's higher up over there.
That's why the arborvitae's were,
And-
asked to be put in.
And that's why I thought this plan that we approved made sense, because the fence was far enough back that it actually would hide the dumpsters.
Certainly
Now,
would
by
help.
moving it forward, I don't think it's gonna do that job, which was the whole point of the fence, from our perspective.
Yeah, I
It
wasn't
was a
thinking.
privacy fence, it wasn't like security for empty dumpsters.
Yeah, it's
Unless the
privacy.
arborvitae's grow to a certain height that the neighbor doesn't see anything behind that, which still wouldn't allow you to keep full dumpsters.
Well, I mean, the gate's gonna be open all
No,
day long,
that's-
right? So, I mean, I don't know, I don't think that, I believe that your request is, I think it's coming from the right place, but I think it's not going to address the reason that we asked for the fence in the first place.
So, if I may, I think we also have another issue. I mean, we knew that the gentleman across the street was gonna keep a watch on him, but I didn't think that anybody would be flying drones over somebody else's property, because that picture looks like it's over somebody else's property, so,
I don't know what the rules are for drones.
I don't either, but I mean,
It's not my area.
it's not my area of expertise, but it's one thing to look out your window, and it's one thing to be flying little airplanes, you know?
No, I mean, I don't disagree with that, but the picture's the picture, right, but, and that shows a full dumpster, not with mattresses, and in a full truck as well, which again.
Another truck that's full, but the cover's drawn, so you can't
Right.
see it as well.
Like, let me see that again. No, the picture, the illegal pic.
I have a license, you can fly over after a certain amount of feet, if you have a license.
Okay.
Because that's the question, do they have a license?
I do not.
Thank you for that
You know,
I
information.
think that's outside the purview of the zoning,
Yeah.
the zoning board.
Maybe we just recommend caution to all residents, all our joint
Well,
constituents.
make sure you're licensed, because you should be.
Even with a license, there's some things that just aren't cool to do, I think,
I mean, there's two junk trucks. One has the thing pulled over it, and the other one doesn't.
Again, the junk truck things is, in
So
my
junk truck,
eyes and the way I understood
junk truck
everything
not.
is, it's a separate thing.
Full dumpster,
We
not
hand load those. We know exactly what's going in them. And we definitely talked about that.
Yeah, I imagine that your limit for the junk truck is pretty much the top of the container, right?
Yeah, the top of the wall on the
Yeah.
side.
So
Which
if the cover is pulled over it and you're looking at that from the road, there's really nothing to see. It's a parked truck, more so than anything.
Yep.
So I guess my concern isn't, I mean, we didn't specify in the conditions that we were talking about dumpsters and junk trucks. We only mentioned dumpsters.
Yeah, the dumpsters was the
Yep.
everybody's concern.
Yeah.
Right, I think it might be getting into, a little bit of semantics as well, trying to say, that we didn't specify.
Can we do the
what
same
have.
with the
I
junk
think
trucks?
I
Can we
think-
just
I think
keep
the
'em-
spirit was the intention,
We just
of-
keep them like empty if you can.
I think he's saying otherwise.
No, I can't.
I mean,
I mean, the end of the day, they dump closes and that's it. They're full.
Okay, so, again, I mean, to his point, what time of the day was this?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Was
It would have to be,
PM? I mean, did they just get?
it'd have to
did
be
they
the
just
same
load
truck
in at 6
multiple,
o'clock,
multiple
or-
days for it to be an offense.
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree.
yeah.
Say that
But
again?
It'd have to be multiple days of the pictures being taken at the same time. And that
Which
would
I don't
be-
recommend to anybody,
Yeah.
please. I mean,
Well,
Yeah, no, one snapshot of a moment in time does not.
Constitute a
any kind
whole
of trend
time
or
lapse,
anything like
right.
that,
but again, the trucks was just for the one day, if it got back late.
yeah. Yeah, just that one overnight, yeah.
Yeah,
Not trucks.
or over a weekend.
Not trucks, it's dumpsters.
It's trucks, because the dumpsters were the trucks.
Yeah.
The dumpster's in the back of the truck, that's the dumpster. Otherwise, it would say trucks on here. They're one and the same as far as that.
I mean, I would tend to agree. I think the spirit of the decision was the conveyance with the debris in it. I think it's a little bit of trying to, with no offense meant, creative language to say dumpsters rather than debris hauling trucks.
And I agree with you on that. And I see what you're doing over there with the metal. I don't know if you're gonna bring it to the scrapyard later and collect some money. Is it just a metal dumpster that's there and
It's every 2 days it goes. And yeah, I mean,
can you, again, I think I would probably keep that thing inside, fill it with scrap, pull it out, and then dump it. Again, there's no rubbish in this, it's scrap metal.
So you said it's every 2 days it goes, but that's a dumpster, so that's supposed to be just overnight.
Correct.
well,
Not-
that's.
Not every 2 days.
So where the confusion is, the hand loading versus not hand loading. And that's how I left the last meeting, was when if we hand loaded the stuff like we do at customers' houses, we know what's in it. Everybody had a problem with the dumpsters leaching stuff out of them that we don't know what was in the dumpster. And that's why no full dumpsters could come back there.
I mean, I don't remember an in-depth discussion about
Hand loading.
this distinction that you're bringing up now. I remember it being mentioned, but I don't think we made that distinction.
No, I mean, I remember a discussion about that, and vis-a-vis, you have concern about some, like,
Something
da-
leaking out.
dangerous chemicals
Yeah.
being loaded in there,
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
unknowingly, and that was the reassurance that, your guys do the loading, so we know it's not, paint and paint thinners and what have you being loaded in there, willy-nilly, for lack of a better phrase,
Right,
right?
yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know that was part of the intent of the decision to make a distinction about how long stuff can stay on site, whether it's loaded or not hand-loaded.
So,
At least
to be
for myself.
clear, the board did not make a distinction that you're making between the junk trucks and a dumpster.
We
So-
treated all the trucks
We
as they were
treat
dump
anything
trucks.
that conveys
Waste.
waste materials as the same for that decision. And
There was a lot of back and forth on that. We can
Yep.
go back and watch it and listen to it, but there was a lot of back and forth about that. And there was a clear difference between hand loading and having a customer load a dumpster at the house. That's why the dumpsters aren't there. It's because we didn't know what was in them. You guys said we didn't know what was in them. Stuff could spill out on the ground. The trucks being hand loaded is totally different.
No, and again, I fully recall that. That was again, there was a lot of concern about what type of material would be in there. Would it be potentially hazardous, spill, be an danger to the surrounding and whatnot, right? Yeah, especially being close to the aquifer, so we definitely had that discussion about you know, you know what's going in the trucks, and you are certain it would not be dangerous goods related material or anything to that end, so that absolutely. But, you know, again, I think it was the spirit of the decision that the intent was not to have any debris-related material there more than that overnight situation, because again, you know, it was our understanding that it was only because of the closure of the facility where you go down to your trucks / dumpsters.
We don't even mention hand-loaded.
No, that was just talking to help try to satisfy the concerned abutters.
I remember we were talking about the hand loading aspect of it because of where it is in relation to the aquifer and the wetland.
Right, exactly.
That's my
That was the concern about, again, someone throwing something in that his team didn't know was being thrown in, vis-a-vis something spillable or what have you, right?
Everything on here is about dumpsters, as far as the conditions go.
Well,
If
no,
we-
condition 4 specifically mentions, shall construct a fence and gate separating the truck and full and empty storage areas
Dumpster
from the
storage
remainder of the
areas.
site. The truck, it says truck. So we were talking about the trucks that convey the junk. Because that's the only other time that we mentioned truck is, it's right there. So the intention was that the fence would have the dumpsters and the trucks behind it, according to the conditions.
I don't know. Well, I mean, you guys are in charge. I'm definitely not trying to do anything
No, we understand.
moving the fence. I'm
I
not,
think there was,
he can fly a drone over every day if he wants. Like, I'm not trying
Yeah.
to hide anything.
no,
The full dumpsters, that the mattress and the metal, again, is because it's hand-loaded stuff. And that was definitely talked about. Not putting it in a dumpster, I get it. I see the issue with that. So,
And if I remember correctly, I think we gave up the right to the RDA conservation, which would have scrutinized 100 times worse. So I'd probably ask that you treat the trucks as a dumpster. We're early on in the game when we got drones flying over.
yeah.
it's not gonna get better.
You know what I mean? It's just-
Yeah. Yeah.
I see both points, but we, you know,
So you're saying put the junk trucks behind the fence? The fence that sounds like you guys want at the back of the property?
for now.
Right, and again, you know, we can vote on this in a second, but, you know, personally, I would like to see the majority of the original conditions met before we discuss any requests for modifications of the decision.
I want to see you be a good neighbor, and you guys get along, and then maybe, you know, if you work it out between you guys, with a drone guy across the street and yourself, and maybe come to some agreement, and he's sitting in here, and he's okay with the modifications. I mean, that's going to bode well for you. But it's early on in the game. I know where you're coming from, and, you know, he was promised enforcement if it got out of hand. You don't think that it did get out of hand, but obviously the resident did. You know, the conditions that we set, probably you didn't understand, but they were, you know, the spirit of the conditions were intended that they would be empty unless you brought them back and you couldn't make the dump run. That didn't include mattresses staying for like 48 hours to go to Brockton.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's going to be the case, then my suggestion would be, if the building's empty, put them in the building, hand load them in the dumpster, and then get rid of them, bring them to Brockton. You know, and let's at least make it like 6 or 8 months of no complaints. And then, you know, revisit this, I would think.
That's what I was thinking, you know, give it a period of time before we review it.
And again, I mean, he's not here, but I'd like to just be fair to both parties.
So are you guys saying that anything behind the fence can stay for 24 hours? Full? Dumpster or truck?
Wait a minute.
It's kind of,
If
If need be.
If
I mean,
need
that-
be,
That
right.
was always the condition, was the understanding that the dump is closed or something like that, and you had one business day to get rid of it.
yeah,
So, yeah, truck or dumpster that's full behind the fence.
including a dumpster.
correct.
Yes, on the impervious surface that
If
you will
you
install.
made your attempt and it
Oh,
couldn't be
which I don't
met.
have, yeah.
Which you
Don't
need to
come back.
install.
I wouldn't suggest
Install the fence.
dropping these things off at 10 o'clock in the morning and saying, I didn't make the dump.
No, I'm not going to do that.
You know, I'm just,
Yeah. So I agree with Brad's suggestion here. I think, you know, we'd be happy to revisit this later on when you've shown that the business is not having any kind of negative or that kind of effect on the surrounding community. I mean, you're in an industrial zone, so we understand that. We're not trying to be punitive. We're just trying to say, these are the original conditions that you agreed to. We're gonna hold you to them, and let's see you be a good neighbor in this town for 6 to 8 months, whatever Brad just said.
Yep.
And then come back and say, oh, you know, this is onerous, or I'd like to do this, and I think it'll improve our neighbors' views or the views from the road or something, whatever. And I think we'd be more receptive to it.
I think
And I want to be clear too, that includes both hand-loaded and not hand-loaded. So as far as we're concerned, there's no difference between the two as far as the time kept on premises. And we can issue a motion, issue a statement clarifying that if it helps, you know, to clarify the decision, but.
Well, I wouldn't want to just, you know, we'd have to I think go back through all of this, because that's the way I understood it. Junk removal trucks are different than dumpster trucks.
the truck's a truck.
We would have had totally different conversations if you guys were pushing the junk trucks being the same thing. We would have had to keep talking about it, because I would never have agreed to it.
So functionally, just, you know, maybe for our benefit, what is the difference between keeping the you know, the debris removal trucks versus the debris removal dumpsters on site for more than an overnight period?
What's the benefit to you?
There's no, I mean, if a truck's broken, it has a flat tire, it might sit there and might not get emptied for 2 days, which obviously, you know, nothing, we don't make any money unless the trucks are moving and
Yeah.
filling
Right,
up
it
and
behoove you
emptying.
to get that truck fixed or,
It's more, I guess I'm more, the way we've talked about this and the way this is all spelled out is what I understood is the way it's written in here.
Right, but to be honest, your objections to the trucks being mentioned in the decision.
I don't think the truck should be.
Is telling me that it's more than just an exception based on a mechanical issue of the truck?
No, I guess I don't think the
That-
truck
that-
should
that-
even be in this conversation. That's what I'm,
so,
you know,
we're trying to figure out you know, the reason. I mean, are you waiting to fill the truck? You only go out and put a piece of furniture in there and it's not empty and you're waiting to fill the truck to dump the truck? I mean, I'm just,
they might come back half full and then the next day they go to the next job. That might happen. Yeah, you can't go into the dump unless you have a ton in there, 2,000 pounds.
I'm just trying to understand your business, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So,
I'm not necessarily arguing the difference between the two. I'm just more of what we talked about versus what you guys want to change and modify now.
I don't think, you know, to be fair, it wasn't really conveyed to us that there was you know, a junk truck. Until I see the pictures, you know, I just saw dumpsters down there.
No, I mean, clearly.
You
again,
go back and watch all the
No, I mean, clearly.
watch all the footage.
There are trucks referenced in the conditions, so clearly we did have discussions on the
Yeah.
truck at some level, right?
And it was right on the plot plan that you had submitted to us, where the dumpsters and the trucks were gonna be kept.
Right.
Which is all beyond the building, not next to the building.
Show me that picture again, will you? The drone.
And,
Wasn't it like two
I mean,
trucks?
we're aware that junk removal was a part of your business, so that's not new information.
But the trucks, there was only a couple of them. How many junk
He
trucks?
was adding more at
Oh,
the time.
there was 8 or 9
Yeah, yeah.
right out of the gate. Plus, obviously, I'm going to rent space to other contractors pretty soon.
Yeah, we knew that.
Yeah.
This is your plot plan, and it says trucks back there.
In the back, behind
Correct.
the building.
Yeah,
Not behind the building,
behind the fence.
just
Behind
further
the
down the
fence,
fence,
yeah.
off to the right.
This is what you submitted to us.
Yeah.
So, that's why we thought it
I-
included trucks. I mean,
Yeah, I guess, I was, all the whole meeting was about dumpsters, getting everything approved. So in my mind, I'm just dumpster. So I can move the trucks back there, that's fine.
I mean,
Well, again, I think it's not just the location, but also the storing of debris longer than an
Yeah.
overnight period between these unloading zone being open for
Yeah.
you to remove the debris, right?
Yeah. If it comes back full, it gets empty the next day unless there's an issue with the truck.
My suggestion would be on top of arborvitae's. I'm not gonna condition this, but I'd put in like 16-foot pine trees.
What?
So his drone gets stuck in them.
No, I mean, that's not the
where are
intent.
you putting pine trees?
I would put in pine trees in the front with the,
There are trees there already.
Yeah,
No, but he's
it's
also-
really secluded as it is
Yeah.
oh,
now.
I know. I would make it as
We
much
asked for it to be
secluded.
more secluded,
No,
that's all.
I mean, I'm not necessarily an arborist, I'm not ready to, comment.
No, I'm not either. I'm just saying, if I were you, I would like make it so nobody sees from their living room
So
into the place at all.
But I really don't care because I'm not hiding anything.
No.
So,
No, we're not saying you are.
you know,
But,
again, like I said at the beginning, me loading that mattress dumpster was like the hand loading thing. I really didn't think I was doing anything wrong.
And again,
But I
this was a
get it.
manufacturing plant. I mean, he lucky that, somebody with the hours of 4 a.m. to 11 p.m.
But 7 to 11 is the industrial zone area anyway.
Isn't, a lead smelting plant making bullets. You know what I mean?
So I don't think the board is open to any condition changes at this time.
Yeah, okay.
And we would just like to see the original conditions met before you come before us again, which means building the fence where we agreed, adding the shrubbery or whatever in the front, and installing impervious surface in the back for full dumpsters.
Listen, I hope you have a thriving business. I hope this thing takes off and you add 16 trucks in there. I mean,
You could be like Brad and double your business.
but for now, I think let's stick to what the plan was and maybe revisit this sometime in November.
Yeah.
I mean, when did you actually start?
I think it was December or January when it finally got officially issued.
Yeah, the decision was issued on date November 7th, 2022.
We're just getting out of the winter into spring, into nice weather where people are migrating
the
out and
hearing in
seeing stuff.
November,
So
right?
Yeah.
let's make it through summer. Late fall, I would say, let's get this stuff done and then revisit it.
Okay, yeah. I mean, once the fence is in, it's in. I'm not there. I won't have to come back for the fence situation. It would just be for keeping some mattresses, I guess. But that's it. There'll be nothing to revisit.
Any just procedural point, do we need to continue this to a certain date?
No.
No, we don't. This isn't a public hearing. And also, just while I have you, I just sent to the board all of the YouTube links for the 2 public hearings that we had on this matter to review. I think that'd be helpful, and I'm forwarding them to you as well, just so they're easy to just click, and you don't have to go through our YouTube page if you want to review. So I'm sending that to you
And
all right now.
if I do want to put a fence in the front, I can just do that without talking to you guys, right?
Yeah, I
think
don't-
we
It says
ought
in there
to.
I can add
I don't
As
think he has
long
to
as
talk
you're
to
within
us.
our zoning bylaws and the rules and
Yeah.
regulations the town
Yeah.
regularly has, that's my only, those would be
I can do
conditions.
both fences.
Exactly.
I was just gonna
Yeah,
suggest
and
that. I was gonna-
An additional fence doesn't impact the conditions we had in the
Yeah.
original decision, correct? Right.
Okay.
But in terms of pulling any permits, that would have to be, talk to Sam.
Sam, yep,
Right.
not all fences, I think Sam is the expert on this, but I
I
believe
believe
if
nothing
it's
could be over
under
6 feet unless it's called a garage fence.
You can do it over 6 feet, it just, you have to get a permit for it.
Get a permit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can do over 6 feet, it just requires a permit. Under 6 feet doesn't require a permit unless I believe it gets within like 10 feet of like the edge of your proper, for sight lines, basically. I don't know exactly what it is, though.
Well, that would be if you're
with
on the
Sam.
corner,
Okay.
so somebody can't see coming
See
out of
going
the
out,
street.
Yeah, that's what it's for.
I'd hate to see you put up one and then
But
somebody come
otherwise,
by
I
and
think
say,
you're
hey,
allowed
get
to
paid
go within,
down.
like 2 inches of your property line. You know, if it doesn't
I
adhere the
don't-
line of
I don't
sight.
know about
Yeah,
that.
I don't know what the setback is, but.
I believe when we did, it was like, you can go right to the lot line. Sam was,
But again, I do want to make sure that we're clear in the understanding that, you know, the hand loading and non-hand loading is not a determining factor for how long stuff can be kept on site or where it's to be kept on premises, right?
I get what you're saying, but I'm not necessarily agreeing to that right now.
We're-
Because that's
we're gonna
you
watch
guys
the
just
videos.
modifying this, just sitting right here, because that's not what we talked about during the meetings. I'm not, I hear what you're saying, but we're not just gonna modify this.
No, we're
which
not
is
modifying
different-
anything.
Which is different than what
No.
we talked about during the meetings.
Yeah, I don't think it's different at all. I think that's exactly how we interpreted it, especially since right here on this is the dumpsters and trucks together, right in the plot plan that you had submitted. Because I didn't treat them differently. I mean, whether the trash is in the dumpster or a metal box in the back of the truck, that's one and the same. All we talked about was
not.
you were hand delivering, oh, I understand it's not.
Yeah.
You know, we're not
No, it's not.
trash
Even
guys,
during
we
our
don't.
meetings, it's not.
We're not maybe necessarily up on your jargon, but for me personally, it's exactly how I took it. That it was one and the same, because the trash in there or the trash in the dumpster, it was all supposed to be hand loaded. It was all supposed to be construction stuff that you knew what was going in there, so we knew that the wasn't getting anything that was hazardous. And those were the conditions that we set based on what you said, and it was more geared towards satisfying the public. And that's why as far as I am personally, more adamant about sticking to these as they're written here. Just because I have an obligation to the public.
No, and I would tend to agree, and again, obviously, you know, the intent is not to modify anything tonight, but honestly, I think if there's not an understanding there, then we might need to look into reopening the application. If that's something, the A&M procedurally, we need to talk about how to do that.
Yeah, I would have to
But-
look
But, you know,
into
but
it.
clearly, there's a misunderstanding or between the applicant and the board as far as what the spirit of the decision was.
I don't know procedurally how we would necessarily
I have
go
no
about
idea on that one
but I
either.
can ask.
Just watch back those videos and you guys will see what I'm talking about. Hand loading versus dumpsters that a customer loads themselves, that we don't know what's in them. Two totally different things. But I don't necessarily care. I'm just, I just don't like how it's getting to this point where you guys just want to modify
we're not
based
modifying
on what you're
anything. We're
saying.
not,
Because honestly, I don't care because they're not going to sit more than a day anyways. But it's
No.
just,
But again, as we've said a couple times,
I'm trying to, that has nothing to do with hand loading, what you're pointing to right there.
it says proposed dumpsters and trucks.
Right. No, I get it. Put them behind the fence. I get it. But I'm just saying it has nothing to do with hand loading versus not hand loading. Two totally different things. And we were very clear on that during the meetings. So, you can go ahead, finish what you were saying that you wanted to clarify.
No, I would like, again, I would like to know that there's an understanding that the spirit of the board's decision was that any debris, whether hand-loaded or non-hand loaded by your team, is still applicable to the conditions met in the decision.
See, that's my challenge with this, is for you, saying that, because that's not the way it was during the meetings. Hand loading and dumpsters are totally different things. Junk removal trucks and dumpsters are totally different things. I get what you're saying, but you're just trying to modify the terminology just sitting just right here.
No, again, the intent is not for us to modify anything right now. We're just relaying to you what our intention was at the time of rendering the decision. Now, if there's a disagreement on that fact, I think we might need to look into some things, because it clearly seems like there's a disagreement on that fact.
I think it might be prudent for
We should do the video.
it to take a look
Yeah.
back at the video.
I think we should just look at the video and see
because
what-
I think right now it might
Yep.
just be talking in circles.
Right,
until
we're just talking
everyone
circles right now,
reviews
so
and
I-
can take a look and know, have it fresh in our mind, because it was a few months ago now. I think that might be helpful,
Yep.
but that's just a suggestion.
No, agreed.
Or you can hold on to that if you want.
No, it's all right. Thank you. See you guys.
All right,
Moving on.
moving on to the next agenda item. Amy, we have a Sewell Street update?
Yes. Let's turn it off. Yes, so, Sewell Street, I refer to that as I know it from the Conservation Commission. The board might know it as the 40B project, the Quarry Apartments project. It's off of Salem Street. The update is that building permits have been filed for. So it's, the comprehensive permit was issued a couple years ago. Building permits have been filed. We are hoping to get those approved soon. It's obviously a massive project for a town like Groveland, so we are having a third-party review, which is pretty normal. So we will be doing that in the next coming weeks, but because it is going through this process, it means it will be appearing before the zoning board probably a little more frequently if there are any changes, modifications that need to take place. It's something that I know the zoning board put a lot of effort into, so I will be providing regular updates at our meetings because I know it's something you folks care about.
I think I still have their year's worth of material.
Yes. For the board members who were not present, when it was permitted, let me know if you would like me to share all of the information for it. I can put together a Dropbox link because it is quite a lot of information. I know I myself, I wasn't here when it first started, so there's a lot to catch up on. But
I mean, that might not be a bad idea anyways, just so we have it as a reference if needed.
yeah, absolutely, I can do that. I can send out, I'll send out the decision and the site plans and everything that were approved, because, so there's the building permit aspect of it, but then there's also the board voted approved plans. There are final plans that need to be okayed, and so I've reached out to TEC to give us a hand to make sure that those conform enough. And, a little, if a manhole cover moves 6 inches, that's not the type of thing that really we need to make a decision about. But, yeah, so that's an exciting update. So
That's great.
I think they're looking for foundations.
Moving along.
Yeah, I
Awesome.
think they're looking for foundations for the fall, but they'll have had the building permits by then. So
Perfect.
very exciting. Yeah.
All right.
And then,
Great. And then can we roll right into town planner update?
yes, some of you have heard this from me last night. I'm going to say it again. If you are up for reappointment, Monday evenings, Tuesdays from 10 to 2, Thursdays from 10 to 2, or you can email the town clerk or the assistant town clerk to make an appointment. So that's one housekeeping item. The other isn't really necessarily a housekeeping item, but something that is very relevant to the zoning board. We are still in the process of putting together or working on the project with Mass Development and Niche Engineering for 150 Center Street / Strawberry Fields, the site development, master planning, visioning, whatnot. So we're moving along with that. Our next public hearing, or not public hearing, I'm sorry, public comment visioning session is July 27th. It'll be here in Town Hall at 7 p.m. I will be sending out an email to you folks probably tomorrow now. I got too bogged down with things today to send it out with a story map website to kind of show the history of the site, what we're looking at for this study as far as, market analysis type stuff, environmental stuff, just, kind of what everything's looking at. And then at the end, there's a survey to get resident information about what type of anything they would want there, whether that be a lot of development, something more recreation-minded, or nothing at all. So I will be sending that around to you folks tomorrow with the ask at the end to please send it to anyone who, you might think would be interested in taking the survey. If you are a parent with school-aged children and you're on a big email chain, send her on out. So that type of thing. But that's going really well. And other than that, I think that's it.
And sorry if I missed that, but that's gonna be posted in a public place as well, right? Like on the town website or do that?
Yep, so there is on our grants and projects portion of the website, it is there. It's the very first thing. If you click the flyer or if you click the QR code, it'll bring you right to the survey and the survey and the story map. I've put up maybe only just one. I've put up a flyer in front of my office in Town Hall. Going to ask our PR committee to do a press release for the event. A month out is we're over a month out for it, so it's a little too early to start pushing it. So probably in a couple weeks, like 3 weeks out, you'll see something. People will forget about it if they see it right now. But yes, we just got it up on the website at the end of last week, and with the holiday Monday, we're still kind of getting everything moving. Yeah. Yeah.
For the record, a couple of us went in today to the Dewdrop Inn, and we weren't allowed to be re-upped.
It's
so.
a Wednesday. It's Monday
Listen,
evenings, Tuesdays, and Thursdays.
I look
My
forward to
schedule
being-
may not see fit.
I look forward to being sworn in again. Great. Other items not reasonably anticipated?
I got nothing.
And-
Nope.
okay. Board discussion, anything?
Nope.
Brad?
I got nothing.
Jace, anything?
Nothing.
All right. And motion to adjourn.
So motion.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Good night, folks.